place you can't actually see the economy. What you can see is the perilously thin membrane that supports life, and you can also see some of the physical boundaries that separate different societies, like oceans and mountain ranges. And if you start with the view from space, I believe you come up with the only mental model that makes sense. One that sees the economy as part of society, a very important part to be sure, but there are things we expect from society, like a sense of identity, like our culture, companionship, security and love, which are not part of the economy. And our society is totally enclosed within and totally dependent on natural ecological systems for those essentials that we need. I have a bit of a problem with the word environment because it suggests surroundings of which we are not part. But we are just as much part of ecological systems as gum trees or goannas or galahs. Let me define that down to the absolute molecular level. Every molecule in my body was once part of the living systems of this planet. And every molecule in my body will in time again be part of the living systems of this planet. We are part of that ecological system. And unless we maintain it, we have no future even as a species, let alone as a civilization. It's been implicit in all I've said that the future, as we used to say at the Commission, is not somewhere we're going, but something we're all engaged in the act of creating. At any given time, there are a range of options, and we make decisions every day that make some futures more likely and others less likely. You made the decision to come here tonight, presumably because you saw it as, in some sense, an opportunity. But in coming here, you have forgone all of the other opportunities for use of this time. You have made a choice about some sorts of futures above others, and we make those sorts of choices every day. And of course it is rational to make them as conscious choices. I tell people that I've never met anyone who goes on holiday by loading the family and some clothes into a car and driving randomly around the road system until they run out of fuel and camping there and then hitching a lift back home. People, when they go on holiday, have at least a general idea of where they want to go, what they want to do, what they want to experience. They might retain the flexibility to respond to new opportunities or new problems, but they have at least a general plan. Now, it seems to be obvious that the future of our nation is at least as important as a family holiday and deserves at least that degree of planning. We should have at least a general idea of where we want to go. We should, of course, retain the flexibility to respond to problems or opportunities as they come up, but we should have a general idea of where we want to go. If you don't know where you're going, any road will do. If you do know where you're going, you can steer purposefully in that direction. So let me spell out what I see as the criteria for the ideal sustainable future community I would like to see. It will stabilise its population and its footprint, its demand on resources per person. It will use resources sustainably to produce a dynamic and flexible economy that's producing the things that people want, rather than things that they clearly don't want, so that you have to keep subsidising them each year as they have more and more trouble selling them. Pick an example purely at random that has no relevance at all to South Australia. It will be approaching a zero-waste society. John Pilger will remind me you can never achieve a zero-waste society because the laws of thermodynamics are always against you. But I'm reminded that when Johannes Bjelke-Petersen was Premier of Queensland, and he was told that our power stations are only 35% efficient, and he demanded to know why Queensland power stations couldn't do better. And he was told it was the law of thermodynamics. And he said, well, I'll pass a different law. That's the sort of positive thinking we need. It will drastically cut carbon emissions, and I believe it's entirely credible that we could reduce our carbon emissions by 90% by 2050. It will require new developments to be biodiversity positive in the sense that where developments that are seen as being beneficial require the loss of natural areas, it will be part of the change process that we require an investment in the restoration and enhancement of other natural areas so that we don't lose any more of our unique biological diversity. It will be committed to improving equality so that we are more socially cohesive. And that means that there will be serious triple bottom line assessments of new proposals, not cursory environmental assessments and no social assessments at all. And that those assessments of the social, economic and environmental costs and benefits of change will be used in a process for difficult decisions, recognising you can never change only one thing in a complex system, and that change always produces winners and losers. We should be conscious of that and make decisions openly as a community. So I can see even in a friendly gathering like this a few people thinking that this is all a bit utopian. In one sense it is, but I wanted to end by reminding you that all of the significant advances in human history have always seemed utopian when they were first propounded. And those who argued for them were dismissed as being out of touch with reality. 200 years ago, the abolitionists were told that slavery was utopian because no economy could function without slave labour. 100 years ago, the suffragettes were told that society would crumble if such unreliable people as women were allowed to vote every 3 years. And in those cases, the moral arguments prevailed over the spurious social and economic arguments. Coming closer to the present day, 20 years ago, it was still utopian to be dreaming of Berlin without the wall, or South Africa without apartheid, or modest technical advances like laptop computers and mobile phones, or modest social advances like good coffee and civilised licensing laws in Queensland. In fact, if you think about it, practically all features of modern life that we now take for granted were once utopian visions, and we have them because people didn't think the world they lived in was as good as it got, but worked purposefully to bring about a better world. And where the driving force was a moral imperative, it was much more likely that that transition would be achieved, whether it was bringing down the Berlin Wall or getting rid of apartheid. And I believe that just as now looking back, it's difficult to see how people put up with apartheid or the Berlin Wall, I believe in 50 years' time, people looking back will find it difficult to believe that we actually made decisions without thinking about their impact on future generations, without thinking about their impact on other species. So to conclude, our decisions shape the future. I believe our aim should be a sustainable future, and developing a future that is not sustainable is simply stealing from our own children. It is funding our lifestyle at their expense. A sustainable future has many dimensions: resources, economic, social, environmental, health, cultural and spiritual. But fundamentally, it is nothing less than our moral responsibility for the countless millions of other species that we share this planet with and the future generations for whom we hold it in trust.